I grew up hearing stories about the old neighborhoods in Milford, places people said were different. But there was one house, my Uncle David's house, that everyone in the family whispered about when they thought the kids weren't listening. It was tucked away in this forgotten 16-block stretch of town, the kind of place where time seems stuck. The walls were thick, the roof heavy with moss, and even in the middle of July, the whole house stayed strangely cold, like it was holding on to something or someone. My uncle bought that house from an old man, Mr. Collins, who had lived there his whole life. Before selling it, Collins warned him, "This house, it's not empty. My ancestors did things here, things they shouldn't have." He didn't go into details, just said that whatever they stirred up, it never left. But my uncle, being stubborn and practical, brushed it off, got the place for next to nothing. And for a while, it seemed fine. Until the summer, I decided to sleep on the roof. It was one of those nights where the air feels thick, like a storm's coming even though the sky is clear. I remember lying there, staring up at the stars, feeling the stone under my back, cold against my skin. And then, I heard it, my uncle's voice, calling me, soft at first, then a little louder. When I opened my eyes, there he was, standing at the edge of the rooftop, just watching me. I tried to wave him over, but he just stood there, mumbling something I couldn't quite catch. Something wasn't right. His body, it seemed almost too still. His movements didn't feel human. And then, without warning, a dog sprinted onto the rooftop. But it didn't bark. It made these awful, broken human sounds, noises that should never come from an animal. I felt my blood run cold. Instinctively, I began to whisper a prayer under my breath. Words I barely remembered but clung to like a life raft. As I prayed, the figure of my uncle started to change. It morphed, melting and twisting into the shape of a hunched old woman. Her skin grayish, her eyes black and endless. And the dog, if you could even call it that, shrank back with her. Together, they retreated into the stone wall and disappeared. I didn't think. I ran. I tore down the stairs, barely able to breathe, and found my real Uncle David sitting downstairs with my mom, safe, laughing, having tea like it was any other night. I stumbled over my words trying to explain. My mom just shook her head and said, "You knew better. You know this house is heavy. Why would you sleep alone?" She wasn't even surprised. I didn't sleep properly for weeks after that. My body felt strange, tense, almost locked up, and my nerves were so fried, my eyes actually ached from fear. Uncle David had to perform a blessing over me that same night. And you know what still haunts me? The creature wore almost the same outfit my uncle did. But it wasn't white, it was this frozen, pale blue color, like frost. And it glowed. That wasn't the last strange thing to happen there, either. Uncle David once told me about a night, a freezing winter night, when he heard heavy, pounding footsteps on the rooftop. Far too heavy for any person he knew. He rushed up, thinking maybe it was a thief. And there she was. The same old woman, covered in a scarf, bent but moving unnaturally fast. And when she turned to face him, she smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a human smile. Then she was just gone. The thing that scared him most? The weight of those footsteps didn't match the frail body he saw. It was like something massive was hiding inside that broken old shell. After that night, we noticed other things. Fresh flowers appearing inside locked rooms. The smell of freshly cooked meals or sweet puddings drifting through empty hallways. Strange ancient utensils left on the rooftop, things we learned never, ever to touch. Because every time someone did, bad things happened. I never spent another night on that rooftop. And honestly, even now, thinking about it, I feel that same cold creep up my spine. That house still stands. And whatever was, is inside it. It's still waiting.